Welcome to Courageous Conversations with Heman. This is a space where we bring forward voices that challenge the status quo, speak the truth to power, and reimagine a just world. Today, I have a honor of speaking with Dr. Lenin Raghuvanshi, who is a globally recognized human rights activist, Dalit rights defender, and a founding director of People's Vigilance Committee for Human Rights. His work has been instrumental in amplifying marginalized voices and challenging caste-based discrimination not only in India but across South Asia. Our conversation today will focus on the future of social justice movement in South Asia and Dalit voices and beyond. My first question would be to you, Dr. Lenin. As you have seen, the Dalit movements in South Asia carry a rich legacy from Ambedkar's vision to grassroots struggles across villages and cities today. As we move forward, how can these legacies can be reimagined to shape the future of social justice in the region like South Asia?
If you look at one most important thing, caste system is a cognitive problem. And it is a cognitive problem of the feudal structures of South Asian society. And the one part of the Sanatan and Hindu religion, especially the Manusmriti, started to support and brought the rules of the caste. And if you look in the South Asia, all different religions, when they came in this part, they are also badly influenced by the mind of caste and caste system and patriarchy. And in that way, Dr. Ambedkar ji did a lot of wonderful fights. But the most important thing, there is a new contextual factors, like a new liberal economic policy, communal fascism, attacks on the minority in South Asia. And in this way, this is important to understand, caste system need to be um, address those issues because Dalit means the broken people, it's a deprived people, oppressed people. So there is a one system which is called as a caste system, which deprived the most marginalized people, most marginalized community in South Asia. But also there is a patriarchy where the women face, and also there is a communal fascism, not the fundamental understanding, but communal fascism and superiorities of some religions, the attacks on the minorities. So minorities also face, they are broken people. And nowadays, this new economic global new economic system also creating gap looting have and have. So there is also broken people. And for that reason, people like me, in 2011, we declared if the Ambedkarist movement and BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, and this type of movement are not going to address the issues of the minorities, communal fascism, and the neoliberal policy, and also the communist and left-wing people, if they are not going to um, uh, understand the cognitive weaknesses like caste system and patriarchy, and also they are not going to address the issues of the communalism, and then there is a big problem. And in that way, if you look that there is a failure both way, and we propose the new Dalit movements because the whole caste system and also the attack on the minority, the mindset, communal fascism, and the neoliberal policies, they are broken the people and divide the people. So most important, with the friendly contradictions to unite. So the first union need to be between the OBCs, other backward castes and scheduled tribe, and also from unity with the progressive upper caste people and the progressive women. Why I'm talking about the progressive women? Because we found many women are involved into the caste atrocities. They are responsible perpetrators because they learn, and also they are involved into the many attacks on the minorities in South Asia and especially few part of India. We found it. And in that way, it is important. Second, already minorities come together, but the most important thing they need to be make a unity with these people who believe in secularism and communal harmony. And the third is a all poor from the all caste and community who face the new economic policies, creating gas looting, have and have nots. So in this way, this is called as the new Dalit movements. All together come together, and we need to promote rule of law, human dignity, opportunity for all, give the affirmative actions to recognize and respect the different opinions, and also give the respect to the minorities, and there is a balance amongst the different stakeholders. It is not like that the only the few businesses are going to control it, and few actors are going to control it. So that is the new things. My new book is coming. It's very interesting. Its name is Kasi. Because why from Kasi? Because it is the one of the oldest city, and there is also caste system. But we are also bringing the cognitive strength from Sanatan, like that the whole thinking of Lord Shiva, Buddha gave first sermon, three Tirthankar of Jain religion born here. And for that reason, Mirza Ghale described Varanasi as a Kaaba of Hindustan. And the other hand, if you look at the cognitive strength, rescue of the Belal, giving the dignity to the Belal and the whole Marina Constitution, which is the constitution of the diversity. So the communists and socialists and secularists, they need to be bring those issues because we need contextual secularism, abstract secularism in the France in the crisis, and for that reason it is also important. And um, and uh, and in this way, Dalit movement also need to address what is happening in Ukraine, what is happening in Gaza, uh, because they are also deprived people and same mindset, Superman theory, like of the fascist Jews attack on the most secular um, Palestinian people, and also the expansionist Russia are attacking on the Ukraine. So it is important to understand because this any movement. So we call as a neo-Dalit movements because we need to bring all other issues. And the spirit of Dr. Ambedkar is there because he told he is against the caste system. He's also against the bad element of the capitalism. So we need to uh, develop this movement and this process in the future. Yeah.
I mean, that's fascinating, Dr. Lenin, the way you explained, I mean, the Dalit movement. And it also brings us to the question of solidarity beyond the caste alone. As you mentioned, that the Dalit voices are the central to the fight of the caste oppression, but social justice in South Asia also intersects, just as you mentioned, about the gender, religion, and the class. How do you see the possibility of building an international movement that unites these marginalized identities under one vision of justice?
You look at most important thing is especially the secular socialist and communist movement. They did not understand and they did not want to analyze the cognitive factors. And for that reason, I wrote this book, Kashi, because in the thought process we need to understand. I told you like a Medina constitution, and especially if you want to talk with the religious people, you need to be brings um, uh, more progressive understanding from there. Then that people are going to understand more and then bring the movement slowly in this way. And it's for that reason also the caste system is only talking, the anti-caste movement is only talking about the um, exploitation by the caste system. But there is a class because many people receive the affirmative action, few people become rich also. So their responsibility for their own community because they receive the affirmative actions on the name of community and the caste system. So what is their responsibility? What is their accountability? And also, if any movement is not only going to the one directions and not addressing the other issues, yeah, any philosophy, why the Marxism and communism are failed in the most South Asian worlds because they did not want to talk about the caste system, religions, other things, and like that. They want only the class way. And the yeah, anti-caste movement only talk about the caste. But there is also gender. If you look at Manusmriti talk about the all women of the every varnas, every sections are the sudras. So like I continue. So no property rights, no right to education, and for that reason, we need to make a like a neo Dalit movement. So neo Dalit movement is movement, united movements with the friendly contradictions to fight back the caste system also and the class differences also and the patriarchy. But it is the base on we want to bring non-violence, human dignity, fraternity, and justice, and the sustainable peace and pluralism and diversity, which is so important because everything is not going to resolve immediately. So that is most important things need to be understand.
Yes, of course, that totally makes sense. And when we talk about the digital age, which is another layer of activism that has emerged, with social media, podcasts, and international advocacy platforms growing stronger, Dalit and marginalized voices have entered the global conversation on human rights. Just we have seen the G4 and other platforms. How do you see the role of digital activism in the advancing these struggles, and what are the risks to digital backlash, like misinformation or the surveillance that must be cautious about?
You look at black cases everywhere. When the Dalit people, yeah, progressive people, fight, fought back, fighting back on the grassroots level offline. Also, they received the black, black card. Yes, blacklists and the retaliations is a part of that. You are doing very well. So there's a way. But you look the digital world, it is also important because our people, means the Dalit people, tribal people, they are the mostly illiterate. And for that reason, it is important. There's a digital gap also. So, and in this digital gap, this is the responsibility of the actors and the people who are fighting for the Dalit rights to bring their voice as a loudspeaker. Uh, because their voice need to be heard globally, and also they need to be create use the this democratic space. Look, I started my blog because on the grassroots level, I born in very upper caste family, and for that reason, they don't like me to fighting for the rights of the for the Dalit people. And if you look at what happened, I use the my blog, I used the Facebook, my blog in 2005, my YouTube in 2005. So, and I observe on the Google Analytics that went to the US, Russia, many other places where China I did not visit. Also in the US, mostly I am visited in the European, West Europes and all. So, if you look, that need to be understand, and also the IT is also used by the exploiters forces, people who believe in the hate, to spread the hate. So we need to be controlled on them. But it is also important we will bring our arguments. Just like I'm going to give you one example, like when I make open letters about the attack on the Gaza. And that time I asked to the leadership of the Israel, what you are thinking about the Barswa uprising, because when the Hitler killed a lot of Jews, and in the Warsaw, that time in Second World War, Jewish people killed a lot of Nazis uh, as a retaliation and called as uprising. So we told, what is your opinion about the Warsaw uprising? So this is also important to use the tools and create our opinion, and also this digital world need to be controlled because there is a lot of hatred, xenophobia, and other things, and powerful elites and the people who they want to monopolize the whole space. So it is also important to eliminate. One hand, we have the issues of digital gap, and the another hand using the IT for creating hatreds and the violence, which is not allowed, need to be controlled by rule of law.
Dr. Lenin, as you rightfully I mentioned the critical point about the power of blogs and social media and even the YouTube. Let's take that further into the question of institution versus the people's movement. Some argue that the change must come from within the state institutions like laws, courts, and policy reforms, while others say that grassroots mobilization is the real driver of transformation. Talking about your experience, what balance is needed between institutional reforms and grassroots resistance to ensure that long-term justice for Dalit and marginalized community is served?
I will tell you, it is both are simultaneous, both are interlinked. If thinking about the scientific way, you look at the experience of Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar and the Gandhis, Mahatma Gandhi is aware of Jawaharlal Nehru, and they gave to opportunity to Dr. Ambedkar as a chairmanship of the committee for to write the Constitution of India. And you look, this is the policies. but it is the experience of the Baba Sahab and the freedom struggle. So it came from a grassroots reality, grassroots experience, and for that reason, you look any policy. If any policy is coming, this policy is when the policy came, it is not going to come automatically on the grassroots level. We need to be change the knowledge, attitudes, and practice of the people and different stakeholders, and this is another challenge. So I talk about the sandwich model because breaking the culture of silence and impunity is so important on the grassroots level, and we need to bring that voices in the corridor of policymakers, and we need to work with the champions inside makers. Why? Because every public opinion is not going to become a policy, and for that reason, you need to work with the policy work out. Just like in one example, I will tell you. We organize a meeting on the women issue, and there's a Global India and one researcher are involved from the Dublin University. When she came, our one staff, SARIM Khan, brought the change.org online campaign for 33% reservations in politics, legislation in parliament. And people told it is impossible in the time of Sri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, because he is not. I'm also tell him very differently, but I know that they need to the votes in this country, and we mobilize on the grassroots, we mobilize and different opinion and everything, and then we received informations. There is hiccups because on the women issue. So in the COVID, when I came from 12 days from ICU, I wrote to the different uh, leaders in the ruling party. And I brought the whole understanding, the Ma Parvati and Ma Kali need the justice. And when you are going to give the justice to them, so what going to happen? This 33% reservation, it is going to happen after 28 with the delimitations. There is another politics and critics, but this also happened. So that is also important to work on both levels. But any advocacy, any policy change is not coming from the people's aspirations, not coming from the people's knowledge, not coming from the breaking the culture of silence and the impunity on the grassroots level, then it is the hypocrisy. It is not a policy. So we need a sandwich model. We need to mobilize the masses on this issue and also put the pressures and make a good sandwich as a um, wonderful change. So that is important to work on both levels.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, Dr. Lenin. And finally, coming to the end of our podcast, I want to move from the resistance to imagination. You know, social justice movement are often framed in terms of resisting oppression. But what would it mean for Dalit and other marginalized communities to move beyond resistance, to reimagine leadership, creativity, and ownership of South Asians' future? What does that future look like to you?
I will tell you, this is the great movements, Dalit movements, especially in South Asia. Because due to the affirmative action and Dalit movements, we looked at is the elimination of the poverty in South Asia. And this is the hope, and this is the non-violent movement also like a movement of Gandhi. So it is need to be understood. But initially you talk about that the class, genders, and the class. So it is also important the anti-caste movement need to links with the um, and, movements for the poor and also the movements for the women in this country. So that is also important. And the second important thing, if we need to understand also the cognitive strength, because caste system is the cognitive weakness, but we need to be there is a cognitive strength. And just like the Dr. Ambedkar, he talked about this. Buddha is only gave the Saman culture, which is against caste system, but it is not totally true. In the Vedas also, there is one Brahmins, Lokayat, and the Brahmins created Nyaya, Sank, philosophy, which is part of Saman culture. When the Islam came, which is also gave a big space, very big space in this part of the South Asia, in this part of the South Asia as a part social democracy, especially the spiritualism. And in that way, we need to understand that. that part also. And for that, I'm writing about the Kashi, because Kashi is not only going only the spectacles of the Hindus. It is the holy city of the diversity. We need to understand about Medina Constitution, and we need to talk about the people of Taliban. If you believe in the Islam and you believe in Rasul, uh, so Rasul gave the Pake Quran and the spirit of the Makkah, because when he again came into the Makkah after his success, he never make revenge to anybody. And also the Medina Constitution is the constitution of the diversity. So what you are thinking about that? So in that way, also we need to create our arguments, our understanding from the cognitive powers. Cognitive power, just like someone is telling women no education. So we need to ask about that. You look what is happening in the second part, holy part of the Pake Quran, which talk about the ilm and education, and which is allowed to the women too. So you are bigger than that. So we need to create our narrative in this way, just like the widow's problem in my city. And in this book, I wrote, you look in the other way, widows are allowed to marry to anybody, perform their religious activities. So you are bigger than a third. When you are going to ask this type of narratives, that going to create real reforms inside, because intra-religious reform is also important, because you know that we take baths, we also clean our home, and but we also in the crop like weeds, we eliminate the bad elements, but we only eliminate the dirt, not the real things, and make the real things more shining. So in that way, also there is a also Dalit movement, especially to understand technological democracy and to fight back and create their own arguments, fighting from that side also. Eh? And it is also important. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Our argument is only like in some modern principles, and these people are going to tell, "Oh, it is the Western understanding." It's not a Western understanding. Bilal was Bilal was released. Bilal was released, and he received a dignity. You are not giving the human dignity. Where is the diversity for other religions? You are not respecting the whole understanding of Rasul of Madina Constitution at all. So, and that way you are going to ask. And in India, also we are talking about the in the Kasi book. This book is going to publish Kasi. It is a asking the questions to them. Uh, Creating attacks on the spectacle, bringing the real spiritualism, and it is also very very important to understand. Otherwise, what is going to happen if we are going to reject the cognitive strength? uh, and we are not going to promote the theological democracy and contextual secularism. So it is impossible. If you look at the ceremony, Christian Democrat came and fight back the understanding of the Hitler. It is also very, very important for the people. We don't want to hate someone. We want to promote the love. What the Jesus told, what the Buddha said 500 years before Jesus, and what the Rasul did when he again conquered the Makkah. Never make a revenge. Always love to the people and his own enemy.
This comes to the end of our conversation, Dr. Lenin. Thank you very much for taking your time out for this, powerful, insightful conversation. Your words, your conversation reminds us that social justice in South Asia is not just about the resistance, but also about building new futures where every voice matters. And to our listeners, this is a courageous conversations with Heman Das. If today's dialogue inspired you, share it with your network and continue the conversation beyond this space. Together, we can amplify the voices that history has tried to silence. Until next time, stay courageous and stay curious. Thank you very much, Dr. Lenin, once again for joining for this conversation.
Thank you, Heman. Thank you.
Thank you.